We had plenty of things to correct, but when it really came down to it, defense buckled up, offense put together a couple drives, especially the last one, using up 7 minutes. There were some good individual performances. Most of all, I thought it was a good team win. I thought special teams did a nice job securing the football, getting the yards, the few yards that we needed there, and punted the ball well, so on. So, and kicked the ball well. So with that, time's yours.
Go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy. Pat basically said after the game that those 2 interceptions, he was too greedy. Do you have to talk to him much about that, about not being too greedy? Do you have to talk to him at all about that? And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, you know what, Adam? He knows better than anybody when that happens. And he came up afterwards and just said, "Hey, listen, I got to check it down there. So, or run it." And so, he did that. Did that a little bit more in the second half.
Okay. I mean, is that a fine line with him? I mean, making those kinds of plays makes him the player he is. Is there sort of a fine line? You don't want to take that away from him?
Yeah, well, you could kind of see the evolution of it during the game. He had a nice one to Noah where he kind of lofted it up and over, and he tried the second one and was picked, and so and then the next one was picked, but he was trying to put it in a hole. He's done that so many different times, but they were settling back, so better to just work the flat there or run.
Let's go next to Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Andy, thanks for the time. I was just curious about your 4-minute offense. It worked really well at Jacksonville, and then it worked exceptionally well yesterday. Is that something you guys have worked on, and why has it been so much more effective maybe in seasons past, early this season?
Yeah, I think we do work on it quite a bit. You see it at training camp, and then we work on it every week on Friday. So, and we've done that in the past too. So that's not something that's new. But I think the guys up front are blocking nice. Coach X got some good runs there that he's put together, and then Pacheco and really all three of them. Pacheco, 25-1. They're all running hard and good. They're seeing things, so it's been a positive thing, that combination. And you probably include the tight ends on that because they're in on a lot of those.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, obviously you guys got off to a really hot start and then things shifted. I was wondering, in your look back at the film, was it something that the Jets adjusted, or was it more internally on your end where maybe there are more things you can clean up self-scouting wise?
Yeah, you know what, Pete, we did. We got jumped out and we were moving, and then we got backed up there, and that's where the problem started. Then field position kind of changed. The turnovers took place, and we gave them an opportunity, and that's what they needed. I mean, we let that old saying is you let them up when they're down. So we did that, and we knew going in that you couldn't turn the ball over. We knew that, and then that happened, and then we had to kind of regain ourselves, and that's a hard thing to do in the National Football League, is kind of regain it from that position. So when you're up, down, now you got to get back up again. In the second half, they came out, they scored with the first possession, and then I thought our defense just put the hammer down there, and even with a couple of times not great field position. So, but they just that kind of recharged everything, and then Pacheco and some of his runs, and then Pat had a couple of nice throws in there, and the old line got rolling, and it got out of the little funk that we had going, and so it finished up good. hard place to play and hard way to win a game, but you've got to be able to do that. And we were able to do it. We just need to get rid of the other stuff in between, and we'll be better off.
Let's go next to Jesse Newell. Go, Jesse.
Hey, Andy, on that last scramble from Pat, it looked like Travis got thrown to the ground. I just wondered if that impacted the play that you guys were trying to run there.
Yeah, that impacted it. That was it was going to be a screen to him. So the defensive end though shook him out like a wet rag. So that didn't work, but it also gave Pat an opportunity to run.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, thanks for the time. I know you guys through 4 games have faced a lot of zone coverage from opposing defenses. I just wonder, or from your vantage point, how your receivers are sort of counteracting that and what you guys have maybe tried to do more since you have faced zone coverage more than usual in these 4 games.
Yeah, well, this crew here was settling back, so it gave us the flat routes and gave Pat lots of room. I mean, you could see how deep they were, and it also helped our run game. So that inevitably is what won the game for us on the offensive side. This week coming up now, you're going to see a lot of man coverage. And this group here ran man too, but I mean, not to the extent this next group will.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
And Brett, I'll have a follow-up if I could. Coach, I believe, I think this is right, you can't challenge on a safety based upon when it's by penalty and everything, but I'm just curious how that process is working with all the guys. I know you've got someone in your ear kind of telling you what's going on. It looked pretty clear on the replay that Taylor was outside the end zone when he gets up around the face mask. Were you aware of that? Is it just one of those tough lucks, or are things moving too fast and play, calling the play and everything? Are you just kind of on to the next situation?
Yeah. So originally I got face mask, but holding also. So that, and he was holding in the end zone. So it looked like he had his face mask partially in there too, but it, that's where, that's what happened. So they review all that stuff too. So.
Okay. And then Rashee Rice had another drop. Just where do you think he is as far as kind of his progression? Is it one of those, the game maybe still just a little bit too fast for him and slowing it all down and trying too hard, or what do you see there when you look at that? Yeah,
he's just, on that one. He just need to look it all the way in. I mean, he came back and had a real nice one there later in the game, which was big for us. So those will get further and further apart, I think, as we go. So the drops.
We'll go last to Matt McMullen and Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt McMullen.
Hey, Coach, you've mentioned before that your advice to Patrick when things maybe aren't going well is just to flush it and to keep firing. That's a hard thing to do, though, I'm sure. What's it say about him as a competitor that last night things weren't going well, but he flushed it and found ways to make plays to win the game in the end?
Yeah, well, no one knows better than what the player does when they do something bad. I mean, it's if they're competitive, they feel more than anybody. So my point is, listen, you do what got you there, and that's attacking. And if you need to check it down as part of the attack, check it down. I mean, they're settling deep. Just check it down and keep firing, keep going. We've got a lot of game left to play, and so he's positive that way. He knows all of that, and he'll normally say something to me before I say something to him. So, but I think you've got to keep firing.
And last to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned, about the Jets playing a little bit deep, and that was opened up some holes to run, but it didn't seem like Patrick was necessarily taking advantage of that a little bit in the first half. are there times like Adam was kind of mentioning that, his mindset gets into that he wants to throw and maybe doesn't want to get out of the pocket as much? And, is that something you just have to wait for him to do it on his own or get to that mode? Or is there any conversation you have about when him leaving and not leaving the pocket?
Well, we got spoiled early, so they weren't playing as deep, and so we were, we had a couple yards in the first quarter there, Matt. I mean, and so you think it's still going to be there. All of a sudden, they drop back, and somebody's in that lane when you cut it loose that was open before. So, you just if you see it, then you got to check it down. Normally, he sees those things pretty well, but he was just trying to shape it over the top like he did to Noah. But listen, yeah, I mean, does he have free access to run? Absolutely. He did that. He did it great in the game. And then he came back and you saw him check it down the flats after that second one. I mean, he started utilizing the flats and, it opened up some things for us down into that third and fourth quarter. Yep.
Coach, we really appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, guys. Hang tight. Let me hit our button here. If you have any questions, you can do that. Okay. You should have permission to unmute if you have anything. If not, we'll see y'all Wednesday to start our week.